Up, we are running, we are good, we are ready to go. Good morning, everyone. Today is Triumph Tuesday. What are you triumphing over? We're triumphing over some technical issues first thing in the morning, blah, blah, blah. But anyways, this is Carol, aka Naughty Bus Live with two
Sisters. Good morning, everyone. It's Janice, aka Wellness Diva 5.0, a very chilly, morning. This Tuesday, December, I believe it's, December 7th.
Harbor.
80th,
Pearl Harbor.
yeah.
This day will live in infamy. Ouch.
80 years later, and we caught on the news last night, speaking of, Pearl Harbor Day, a gentleman who is 99, I believe, because he was 19 the day that it happened, and he'll be celebrating his 100th birthday set in like a week or so. But what an extraordinary story for him to share his perspective 80 years later in front of, I believe it was high school students, explaining. And what I thought was pretty damn amazing about that was the students' reaction and how they came up to him and said it was such an historic. It's one thing to read about it in the history books, but so from
if they're actually reading it in the history books, let's keep that in mind too, which is sad.
Right. But the student said to see a living history right in front of you.
Awesome.
They just and they had such a hard time explaining that, which I thought was that was pretty cool. Like I mean, I got choked up.
Right. And when you think about it, again, you go back to what they're being taught in school today, and they want to do away with history. And yet we have so many people that are still viable, like walking this earth, that have the ability to share a firsthand experience, that they're going to totally get a different perspective. And hopefully that will encourage them to say, you know what, maybe my teacher's not talking about this in school. Maybe history is, going in whatever direction, but you know what, where I got to see this amazing human being who served our country and actually lived through it. I want to know more. I want to know, more stories like that. And that is the travesty of what's going on in our school systems today, because you do have so many people and there's not that many left from that time frame. And you want to be able to take advantage of their knowledge, take advantage of their first accounts of, where they were, what they felt, what they did, and really relating it to an age where many high schoolers are close to that age, and try to put it into perspective that this man, is almost 100 years old. He served our country. He still has impact. He still has value to share over that experience, and nothing better. I think there's nothing better than hear a first eyewitness account of something that momentous, in a day that, as we heard, well, a day will live in infamy, and then yet you still have someone, that can talk about it. So I think that's pretty cool. What channel was that on, or where did you see it? So you could let our.
I believe it was Fox, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
I believe it was Fox News. I'll see if I can find it, but I thought it was just shuddy. So amazing. Barking dogs here. Like, what the heck? You just never know what's going to happen with Two Sisters. But really from an historical aspect. And I also thought of my history teacher. I would say I was never really into history. When I'm just going to mute myself for a second here. We have issues.
So she's got some barking dogs and birds chipping away, and that is pretty typical for Two Sisters. We always get a distraction, whether it's the husbands, the pets, a phone call, or someone ringing at the door. Sometimes it's the long guy that's outside. So that's pretty cool. But I think that's amazing that those students were able to be a part of history, and that's history in the making. When you have someone who that you can relate to, And that is something that I believe that those students will probably and most likely carry on in their hearts for that opportunity for the rest of their lives. And you know what the impact that that has? It has them sharing that same experience. You know, when they become older and have that family and say, you know what? I remember back in high school, I actually got to meet someone who was directly involved with that served our country. And oh, you did? Wow, you must be really old. Well, no, I actually wasn't that old at the time. But guess what? He was 99, going to be 100 years old. So again, that is so impactful for those students that they're going to carry that with them, carry that experience. And hopefully, like I said, it incites them to want to know more. You know, and I think that's one of the beauty things of the vets that's, you know, that still remain, you know, that fought in different wars or that were part of these pivotal moments of history, that they can tell it from a different perspective that a book just cannot do, unless it's a book written by someone directly that was involved. But there's still something about, you know, we always talk about journaling versus hearing the words, the passion behind it. So what a great opportunity. So that's super, super cool and exciting. And, you know, I'm grateful that those students have that opportunity.
Yeah. And what I was trying to say before, when I was rudely interrupted by a dog and the bird is still chirping. But, you know, I remember Mr. Stuneski in my senior year of high school in history class talking about Pearl Harbor Day. And it really, I think that's when I really took such an appreciation for history. I'm not going to say that I wasn't into history. I was toward, you know, when I was a senior in high school, obviously many years ago, but it definitely had an impact on me. And I remember one thing that he said, that history is always in the making and it's always worth learning about.
Absolutely. Absolutely. What I remember him. I had him as well. He's a
Joe
great teacher.
Stroh.
Was a great, yeah.
We called him Joe Stroh.
Great teacher. And, you know, and that's the thing is when you look at teachers that really want to dive in and impact a student's mind, you know, they're willing to make those different experiences happen. And so kudos to whatever teacher that was that, you know, got, you know, connected with him, or students got connected with him, however it worked out. Whoever was the orchestrator and all that, kudos, because that's real life history in the making, because that's a history piece, a lesson that they're going to pass that down to their generations as well. And that's pretty cool. But today is Triumph Tuesday. What are you triumphing over? You know, we talked a little bit about yesterday, kind of Jan getting back on the bandwagon with boxing. I'm getting back on the bandwagon with pickleball. And so I arrived at pickleball. I was super excited. I, you know, forewarned everyone, guess what? I'm a little rusty, but it's one of those things that you could just, you know, pick up right away. I had some great serves. I had some great gets. If you don't know what a get is, look it up. But I will tell you a little smidget. It's when a ball is in a probably almost impossible point of reach to get to, meaning it's either on an angle, you've got to run up to it, maybe almost quite out of bounds, but not. And it's just an angle that you really have to put all your body into. I had a few great gets, so I was really pleased with myself. But, you know, things happen, and apparently no slipping, no falling. That's a triumph in itself. But I just bent down to pick up the ball, apparently the wrong way, and immediately felt, you know, my spine going. So I worked through it. I kept playing. I'm one to not give up. Thankfully, I had someone there with some Advil, popped that in right away and did a couple little stretches, and I kept playing. And as I got home, I just feel it worse and worse. So thankfully, my girlfriend Gina had given me a box of Lidocaine patches. So I put one of those on. And John has been a godsend, you know, help me. He, you know, just couldn't believe. He said, I feel so bad. I encourage you to go. And, you know, your first day back and you've got, you know, this, you know, injury. And it could be, you know, I pulled something the wrong way. It could be my sciatic. I'm notorious. I have a very bad back since I was a child, when I fell out of a tree and landed on my back on a picnic table. So it's going to be one of those injuries that will haunt you, and will haunt you at the least impromptu times that you don't want it to haunt you. So anywho, I did that. As the day progressed, it got worse, but it was really focused just in my spine area, which that's never occurred before. So I was a little nervous, but of course, as the night went on, it started to shift. So that kind of, for me, solidified that it's definitely my sciatic area. So yeah, I'm doing the 24-hour heat. I'm doing, the lidocaine patches. I'm popping, the extra strength Tylenol now every 4 hours. And of all days, I have to go for a mammogram. So, these are things you triumph over. You always got to be up in front and center of your health and wellness and making sure that you are doing everything that was within your power. So John said, maybe they'll do a 2-for-1. Maybe they can, just, do an image of your back as well. I'm like, well, they don't usually like to do that, and especially if I'm getting a mammogram. I don't think that will work out right. So, I mean, I've had it before happen. I'm not going to get discouraged, but yes, I'm going back to taking a few more days off from pickleball. And I've got some great stretches that I've learned when I was in therapy for my back, and asked some people on the court as well if they knew anything differently than I knew. So I got some good tips, and I'm just going to stretch and baby it to a certain degree. But I do find if I'm in the fetal position, propped up with a bunch of pillows, that really helped. But John was, like I said, we both got up at 4:30 because I was in agony. He went and got me some extra strength Tylenol, which helped. And then he helped me out of bed around 5:30 because he knew I had a lot of stuff going on today, and he knew it was going to be, a chore. So needless to say, he emptied out the dishwasher for me. He dried the shower for me because I'm trying to limit my bending. But what I did find, for those of you that have similar issues with your back or sciatic nerve issues, if I'm in the bathroom and I open up my counter or my bottom piece to the countertop, I can actually put my hand underneath where the sink is. So there's like that lip there, but so I've got a good grip, and I could slowly bend to, like, if I need to get, like, obviously today to get my hair dryer, that kind of stuff. I just made sure that I was almost in a very good widespread squatting position to, make sure that my feet were planted. So my back was definitely in a position that I wasn't moving too much. And I really just embraced that. So that was a good feeling of kind of coming up with a pivot in what I had to do to navigate to get, where I had to go. And I'm just finding, different ways. I'm utilizing my island a lot. If I feel a little unsteady, you want to avoid at all costs jerking motions.
Mhm.
So to give you an example, because I'm going to the doctor's appointment, I had to run another errand. So I dropped John off. John, forgetting that I was in the car, took a quicker turn than normal, and ouch, wow, wow. And he felt so bad. I said, no. So I just, again, in the car, found different ways to brace myself, because you never know if you're going to go over a pothole or you're going to swerve the car. All of a sudden, those are the jerky moves that really can aggravate any kind of back pain or sciatic nerve. So I just got to brace myself. And then when I got in the car to drive, I made sure that I, sat down sideways and then swung my legs over, just taking those extra precautions. And I just went slower and made sure I was taking slower turns. So that, you can navigate. You just got to kind of navigate in a different way. So I'm pretty pleased that so far it's a little after 9:30-ish, close to that I'm navigating through it.
Well, that's a good thing. I do want to share something. Yesterday, I received something in the mail.
Oh, what did you get? The
real.
Oh, you got that. You know what? I have to get that book. There's actually 2 books that I want to get. One that has to do with the crisis that is going on with CRT and all that jazz, and that book as well. And then I want to get the Trump book. So I've got a bunch of books I've got to order.
Yeah, this, I will tell you, when I was so obviously excited when I got it, and it's a very thick book. It's going to take me a while to read this. It's 430 pages. So I like to go, I read the jacket, which I always do. And then I like to look at the bibliography part of it, and his references, like because when I read somebody's book, especially something like this, like where did they do their research? Obviously, he's very well known. He's done so much as far as children's health disease. And even in the back, list some
Which
books.
book, who's the author? Is it Dr., it's not Dr. Oz, is it? No.
No, Robert Kennedy Jr.
Oh, that's right, with the, yes.
Yeah, Robert Kennedy
That's
Jr.
right. And he's
Uh,
always been in the forefront of vaccines and chemicals going into it.
Right.
Bodies and all that, so.
Yeah, and just in the part, the introduction part of the book, you know, that were the Roman numeral letters for the pages.
Yes.
And just that part of it, okay. And again, I go to the end notes. He has over 70 different sources that he's just in that part alone. Very riveting thus far. I've read about 10 pages. It's a smaller print. I don't know if you could kind of like.
Yeah, no, I can see it. It's small print. Did you get that on Amazon?
Yeah, I got that on
Okay.
Amazon.
I know I've got like 3 books I have to order. People have been tagging me in a couple of posts. Got to get this book, got to get that book. And obviously, you know, where I'm going to have to take more breaks than normal. This will be a great time for me to catch up on my reading. But I mean, last night, you know, I sat in a chair where I kind of proctored myself. I thought this is a good time to read. And then I got all the alerts about the different books I need to order. I'm like, perfect timing.
Yeah, exactly. And of course I have Mark Levin's book. So a lot of times when I'm reading books that really interest me and I want to read them fast. Obviously this is going to take time. Sometimes I'll read one chapter from one book, another chapter from another book, but my focus now is going to be on this book, and I'll probably at some point go back and forth, but I'm really excited to read this. I mean, eye-opening just in the first 10 pages.
And you know what? And that is a testimony to his writing skill and definitely his research, because that's a big piece to it when you're talking about something specific like that, especially in this time. You know, you're hearing more and more cases are coming up. You know, more people are getting vaccinated, and you know, how's that mask working for you? Not so good, because it doesn't really matter. And just following the science. So, you know, where he's coming very scripted with the background of his research, I think that's a testimony to the passion that he wanted to make sure he got the book right, that he was accurate in what he was kind of culminating from all the different resources. So I think that's good. Last night, I also obviously started to watch a little bit more football now. My 2 teams, obviously my heart and soul is always with the Patriots, but Tommy is my boy. So yes, he had a great win on Sunday, but I was really glad last night because all my Buffalo fans, I am so sorry, but yeah, you lost, and the Patriots won. It was a nail biter to the end, and I love a nail biter game. I don't know how I got onto, John was watching in one room, but again, I was propped up in such a way that, you know, it was easier for me to be in bed and then propped the way that I was. And I was cracking up because although we thought we were watching the same channel, I must have been watching something with the Eli brothers, the the Manning brothers. So both Peyton and Eli, and they're not my 2 favorite guys. I've always been very honest about that. Something about them, I don't know. They just, you know, maybe because one was playing for the Colts, one was playing for the Giants. You know, obviously I really followed Peyton's career because it was similar path to Tommy Brady's career. But I actually didn't mind so much their little rivalry and, you know, kind of commentating on the side. They weren't bad. You know who they had on, because they had different like guests. They had David Letterman. Boy, I did not even recognize him. He looked almost like Santa Claus. He's got the big white hair and the big white beard going on and mustache. And I did not recognize him. I recognized the voice and I had to like take a double take because, you know, that's somebody, you know, that used to love his show, and I have not seen him in eons. So that was kind of cool. And then they also had Joe Buck, who is not one of my favorite commentators. He's just very arrogant. In my opinion, he's just an arrogant, you know, commentators. I don't care for him. Plus, he doesn't like the Patriots, so I definitely don't like him. But you know, it was kind of an interesting way to watch the game, but they were on the side kind of doing their own chatting about it. And from the brothers, they definitely have a good vibe with each other. So it wasn't so bad considering they're not my favorites. So that was kind of my night, trying to know that I was diving into Triumph Tuesday, and I was already ahead of the game because I was triumphing over my boo-boo.
Oh, boy, and I certainly know how that can feel. Geez.
Yeah.
You know,
Sucks. Let's be real, it sucks. Like there's too much crap going on, too much work we have to do, too much things we got to do. And it's one of those things that we're, oh, you know, well, if you sit too long, that's not good either. So you still have to get that movement in. You just got to be more mindful. You just can't go reaching for things like you normally did. You can't bend the way you used to. So you have to find what works. And I'm certainly not going to let it stop it. I'm not going to get myself in all pity party mode. I'm going to triumph over it.
that's right. That's what triumphing over is about. And, you know, obviously when I went back yesterday, you know, I let the instructor, the coach know that, you know, that I'll be doing my own little thing at times when I can't do something.
Right.
Not really upset about burpees, and I'm never upset about them. But
I know.
you know, I did instead of when they were doing burpees, I would do like two very, I don't want to say slow, but slower than I normally would squats. Modified, of course, and then you know, raised my knees to kind of give my body that somewhat of effect. You know, there's a lot of things that I can't do, but there's a lot of things I can do with modification.
Absolutely. And that's what everyone really needs to know, that if you're sidebarred for whatever reason, just modify it. I mean, I'm still thinking I might be able to do push-ups. I haven't tried yet. I would be obviously not be able to do them from the floor, which is, you know, not my strong point anyways. My upper body is probably my weakest point.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, and I think that happens even more so as you age. So I'm going to try to do them from the island, from the counter. And I think I might be able to get a few in, but I'm not going to push it. I'm going to respect that I am where I am right now, and I don't want to get it any worse.
Exactly. And wow, so much that we always cover, you know. And I think too, Triumph Tuesday is all about not so much the big things. Big things are perfect, they are wonderful, we're not disclaiming those, but it's the small little things that you can do if you're modifying an exercise, if you were able to make your bed, you know, whatever it is, those are really important. And I don't think people really, those are pretty significant. And it's time that we realize that triumphing over certain things is also about the little things that make us that much better, so to speak. So
exactly. Well, what are you guys going to triumph over today? You know, just what Jan said, just going over those small little steps of, you know, maybe you said, you know what, I am not going to, you know, leave gift wrapping to the last second. I'm going to do 5 packages today and wrap those up. You know, that's a triumph for some people, because a lot of people kind of wait to the last second on stuff like that. Or, you know what, I'm going to get my Christmas cards out. You know, the little things that you can triumph over will also assist you in keeping organized and making your holiday. We're kind of in that theme of holiday season, and we always talk about accountability, keeping your goals reasonable, realistic, and, you know, triumphing over those things and making sure that, you know what, you didn't give up on yourself, whatever it may be, if it's holiday related, if it's your health and wellness, just to go out there and do, if you even got to adapt and shuffle it around a little bit, because come Friday, you're going to celebrate. I did get through that. I did triumph over that. Didn't think I could, you know, I decided I was going to go with that positive mindset, and that helped me get through that Triumph Tuesday. So we want to know what you are triumphing over, what you're planning to triumph over, and, you know, share that with us. We'd love to hear you. And tomorrow we will be on I think we're going to be on, what time are we on tomorrow? We don't have a guest on tomorrow.
we don't have a guest on tomorrow. I'm not sure what time we will be on tomorrow.
Yeah, sometimes we're fluctuating between the 8 and the 9 time frame, depending on our own personal and business schedule. So we love that flexibility. So you know what, whenever you catch us, whether you're catching us live, whether you're catching us on a replay, give us a shout out, let us know you're watching. And again, let us know what you're triumphing over for this particular day, which is Triumph Tuesday. With that, this is Carol Sue, AKA Naughty Boss, live with Two
Sisters. Hey everyone, it's Janice, AKA Wellness Diva 5.0. Go out and make it a great one. And what book are you reading? Love to hear that as well. Have a great day, everyone. Bye.
Bye-bye.